Let's go to this big story, which is the African Development Bank today unveiling Africa's first ever youth entrepreneurship investment bank in Liberia. Now, the specialized bank, floated with an initial capital of $17.8 million, is expected to unlock up to $500 million in additional lending money into one of West Africa's smallest economy. Now, let's take excerpts from the bank launch presentation made by the EFDB's chief, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina.
We have yet to receive economic progress in ways that reflect the country's potential and promise. But then you continued, I believe our economic conditions can improve when we seize the opportunities we have, and that we will do. Seizing and unlocking these opportunities is what the African Development Bank has been doing in Liberia. You heard on the sketch, empowerment, 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 development, development, development. Great kids. Put it up for those. They were fantastic. I enjoyed every single bit of it. Since 1967, the African Development Bank has invested over $1.02 billion in Liberia across 72 projects. As of February of 2024, our active portfolio of projects includes 18 projects valued at $397 million, each destined to enhance the quality of life for all Liberians. Just think of the following. In transport, a total of 177 kilometers of road construction were completed under the bank's project in Liberia. This includes 50-kilometer Fishtown Harper Road project, the 16-kilometer Harper Junction to Cavalier Border Road, Town Road, as well as the 22-kilometer Saniquelli to Loguantuo. I think I called it right. All right. Under the second phase of the Mano River Union Road Development and Transport Facilitation Program. In the energy sector, the bank has financed a total of 2,434 kilometers of electricity transmission and distribution lines. This includes 1,360 kilometers on the Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea interconnection project. This strategic regional integration project involves high voltage transmission lines, enabling Côte d'Ivoire to export 400 megawatts of power to the other countries in the Mano River Union member states of Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea. The African Development Bank financed 280 kilometers of transmission lines under the Liberia Energy Efficiency and Access Project, benefiting the Robert International Airport and the Plebo Fish Town. The African Development Bank provided $29 million to support the construction of a 45-kilometer, 66-kilovolt transmission lines from Painesville to Roberts International Airport. These included the 980 kilometers of transmission network in both Painesville-Owens Grove corridor and the Plebo Fishtown corridor. The Liberia Energy Efficiency and Access Project has resulted, Mr. President, in roughly 39,792 new connections to the electricity grid, accessing efficient and reliable supply of power. And power is important. It's just like blood in your body. No economy can develop. No person can live without blood, and no economy can develop without power, because you cannot grow or industrialize in the dark. So electricity is so important. This has allowed you to actually provide electricity for 50 health facilities, 65 academic institutions, 43 public facilities, 250 small businesses in Painesville, Owens Grove corridor, and the famous Plebo Fishtown corridor, and Liberia's military hospital, which is the 14th military hospital, including training of over 102 professionals and university graduates. Your Excellency, Mr. President, as the Minister of Finance said, The African Development Bank last year approved $16 million for the establishment of what is called the Youth Entrepreneurship Investment Bank. And I must say, this is the first of such anywhere in Africa. It will provide support to businesses and ventures of the youth of Liberia, your best asset, because more than 60% of your population is under the age of 35. I am delighted, Your Excellency, Mr. President, that later this afternoon in this program, I'll be joining you for the official launch of the Youth Entrepreneurship Investment Bank. And what a great day. And if you're a young person, you've got to clap your hands. And I can hear you, though. That's good. You should give it up to your president. How impactful, how much hope you will have unleashed. These achievements, Your Excellency, are just the beginning. Even though my time as president of the African Development Bank after 2 5-year terms end, this bank is your bank because it was created by the mind of your son. And therefore, this bank will continue to support strongly this country of Liberia, even when my time is over. And when my time is done, I will still be there. Since I was elected president of the African Development Bank in 2015, the bank has seen, thanks to our work, of course, my leadership, I have an incredible team of staff, and I have incredible relations and support from all of our shareholders, and including all of the African countries. And Mr. President, you are at the forefront of that, and I'm grateful, sir, for all of your support for me. Over those 10 years under my leadership, the bank launched what I call the high fives. And they are Light Up and Power Africa, Feed Africa, Industrialize Africa, Integrate Africa, and improve the quality of life of the people of Africa. In fact, when I started it, people thought it was some kind of a high five. You give people and you get along with your job. But it's actually very, very powerful. And I'm glad to tell you that in this 10 years, those high fives have impacted the lives of 565 million people. 128 million people with access to improved health services. 121 million people with access to improved transport. 104 million people with access to improved food, they are food secure. 63 million people now have access to potable water. 34 million people now have access to improved sanitation. 28 million people have access to electricity. And of course, Mr. President, let me thank you. You were there with us at the summit on energy that we had in Dar es Salaam, where you led the country delegation for the development of the energy compact for your country. And I'm glad to say, and I don't know if anybody here is from the World Bank, I'm proud of our partnership with the World Bank on the Mission 300, which is to provide an additional 300 million people with access to electricity by 2030. Now, let me tell you a little bit about electricity. I was telling His Excellency, Mr. President, he gave me a very nice breakfast this morning, and Mr. President, that's the first part. Feed Africa, you have to start feed the President of the African Development Bank. And I was saying to the President that when I went to the United States of America in 1983, it was my first time of actually, you had my background, and or ever traveling on a plane first, or talk less of coming outside of Africa. And I went to the United States, and I arrived there. And as soon as I arrived, I took my suitcase out, and I started ironing my clothes because I stayed with one of the families that had actually volunteered to receive foreign students. And it was one of the professors of the university. And I started ironing my clothes. I spent an hour ironing my clothes. And she came and she said, Akin, what are you doing? I said, of course I'm ironing my clothes. Why? You've been there for 1 hour. I said, because, I'm from Nigeria, Africa, they can take the electricity off anytime. And she said, no, not in America. I said, what do you mean? You know, that was when I realized that I had been living under an abnormality. You cannot make an abnormal thing becoming normal. Everybody, every African must have access to universal electricity. When I was elected president of the bank, the capital of the bank was $93 billion. Today, thanks to our shareholders, the capital of the bank is $318 billion.